vodka.
All right, go for it, cowboy.
On the rocks.
Love on the rocks. I don't care. It's a great song.
So if anyone's looking to endorse us, New Amsterdam,
Fucking.
I would gladly take your money.
Hell yeah.
Didn't throw it that time.
No, you did not, and it's probably a good thing.
All right, count us off when you're ready.
In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What's up, everybody? Chadwick Von Tippitt and Joshua 40, the hard way Johnson. One more last time.
All right, Chadwick, Mr. July. For tonight's episode, we're going to be, discussing any number of things, but it's all going to revolve around the band Greta Van Fleet. Now, initial thoughts on this, Chad, or should I set this whole thing up?
You go ahead and you set it up, because I'm conflicted, and I have opinions, and I sound like an asshole.
Well, that's kind of what the whole thing is all about. But Greta Van Fleet. Now, Chad chose the last episode's topic, which was Slipknot. I chose this one, and the reason for that is you got to go real far back to understand why I would have wanted to touch on this band, and follow me on this if you will. This starts off with the last episode, Slipknot. We talked about how there was one interview where they said they were the only good band from Iowa, and nobody else was going to make it out of Iowa and never did, and it was a loss of hope for us in that scene at that time. Now, for me, the first time I felt that there was ever hope again, oddly enough, was when MTV2 brought back Headbangers Ball, and this would have been about 2003. And the reason why I felt hope was, first of all, that MTV2 brought back Headbangers Ball. That alone was amazing. But the thing that got me was the playlist that they had. It seemed to be this very disparate mixture of old school sounding stuff and what would come to be known as the new wave of American heavy metal. This is when you would be watching this for 2 hours and you would see a Mastodon video immediately followed by a video from The Darkness. Or you would see Lamb of God immediately followed by Fireball Ministry. Just this heavy, heavy stuff along with this old school sounding stuff. And the thing that I thought was the funniest was I'll never forget the premiere of The Darkness video, I believe in a thing called Love. Jamie Josta from Hatebreed was hosting the show. And this is the only time I've ever witnessed both a disclaimer and an apology for a video before it ever even aired. He gets on camera and he just looks dead serious, almost resigned, and said something to the effect, I'm paraphrasing, here at Headbangers Ball, we support all different kinds of headbanging, so even though it may not be what you're used to, I ask you to just kind of just give it a chance and sit through it.
Let me interject for just a moment.
By all means. Should be good.
I don't like Jamie Josta.
No?
Not at all.
Really?
I don't get it. I know a lot of people are riding his dick.
Riding his dick.
I've been drinking and I'm opinionated.
All right, let it rip, Peg. Let it rip.
I've never cared for the guy, his personality. I don't get it.
I can see where you're coming from.
Especially with that stupid fucking disclaimer. Because obviously he doesn't like The Darkness. And The Darkness was great.
See, and that's the thing that I wasn't even...
Sorry, bros. It's not the heaviest fucking word that you've ever heard in your life.
Right, and that's the thing that I wasn't even offended by it. I was amused by it. I just thought...
Oh, it's amusing, but it also pisses me. You know what? It could possibly be the source of my disdain for everybody riding Jamie Josta's cock.
Fair enough.
When did he get to be the authority? When did he turn into the Matt Pinfield of the fucking metal world?
Because they both have shaved heads. I think that's probably it. Because, I didn't get it either why Jamie Josta is the one hosting Headbangers Ball. But at the same time, I grew to like him just because he was just even, Jamie Jasta never bothered me. I mean, he worked with Kirk Weinstein, for crying out loud. You know?
Hey, that's cool.
Right, but that disclaimer. I remember when he was saying it, I thought, whatever is going to happen next, I'm probably going to like. Because at that time, nothing that was rock and roll was popular. But then this...
Look, I loved The Darkness when they came out because I get it.
And that surprised the hell out of me. Because I watched this video, and the first thing you see is this spaceship, and then this guy's bare ass.
When was that? Was that like
2003?
2003. Okay,
Yep.
So for a long time, I was like, that's not heavy. I don't want nothing to do with it.
You and I went to battle many times over that.
Look, I was an asshole about it.
You know what? And I had no talent, so, there you go. It worked.
So I just want to say I didn't soften in my old age.
No, you fucking evolved.
I aged like a fine wine.
You evolved.
And I'm able to accept different styles of music.
Right, but when you're young and angry and pissed off...
I'm still pissed off. I'm too old to be pissed off.
Well, that's just it. But in any event, though, yeah, that video. First the spaceship, then Justin Hawkins' bare ass, and then he's wearing a fucking one-piece jumpsuit.
One-piece white jumpsuit.
Yeah. And he has a tattoo on his arm, Justin, with the lightning bolt for the S. It's like, all right, I don't know what I think of this, but then they showed the band. There's the guy with the mustache, and then his brother wearing the Thin Lizzy shirt, and I thought, musically, I can get into this, but I just remember thinking even then, this isn't going to go past one album because of that fucking voice. And trust me, this will lead into Greta Van Fleet here in a bit. But, yeah, and incidentally, the best Darkness song was still Black Shock. But
you know what? I think I loved every song on that record.
And that's what surprised me so much, because I thought, you're going to hear this falsetto. There's no way Chad's going to be into this. Next thing I know, I come to practice, you're wearing a Darkness shirt. I went,
I did have a Darkness shirt.
You did?
Holy shit.
Yeah, because I was shocked that you had it. But anyway, so yeah. So MTV2, whether Jamie Jasta liked it or not, is playing videos by The Darkness. Or you would even have a band like E-Town Concrete, which was fucking rap nu metal. But then immediately following it would be Shadows Fall. So I'm watching this whole disparate group of people, and it did what it was supposed to do. Okay, Mastodon I may not have liked, but Fireball Ministry I sure the hell did. Fucking
God, they were so good too. Fireball Ministry.
Oh, in fact, that's where MTV2 and that's where Headbangers Ball did what it was supposed to do. I was given free tickets to go see Dio at the Surf. I went to see this band that I had seen on MTV2, Fireball Ministry. I went strictly for them.
So, okay, real quick. Right. We live practically next door to the legendary Surf Ballroom.
Chad, I'm a block away from
I know you are. We've walked to the Surf Ballroom. Yeah. So for our listeners who don't know, that is the very last place that Buddy Holly, the Big Bopper, and Richie Valens played. And their plane took off from the Mason City airport and crashed, and they died. And that's the day the music died, according to Don McLean. So we live next to a very, very legendary music venue.
Right, and that's how we get bands to this day there. Oh, by the way, you killed Buddy Holly. Hey, Sebastian Bach, you want to play? Yeah.
For a short period of time, in the early 2000s,
it was metal.
We got to see Fireball Ministry and Superjoint Ritual.
Yes, twice.
Yes, twice.
Yeah. Phil Anselmo in our backyard.
Dio and Anthrax and Alice Cooper.
Yep.
And really cool shit. And we saw, I saw God Forbid. God Forbid fucking played the Surf Ballroom.
Devil Driver, I'm pretty sure, played there with Superjoint.
Right.
But yeah, all these metal luminaries, people that were on Headbangers Ball were coming to the Surf. And that was the whole point that I was making about Headbangers Ball being brought back. It did what it was supposed to do. It either showed you the bands you liked or it showed you the bands you didn't like, but you got to make that choice. And as a result of that choice, I went out and bought Shadows Fall's album, The Art of Balance.
Oh, Shadows Fall was great.
That vocalist, Brian Fair, son of a bitch.
Exactly. Son of a bitch is right.
And then, I was given a copy of Lamb of God Says the Palace is Burned for my birthday, All of this because Headbangers Ball happened. All this heavy music is going into television sets all over the place. It accomplished the goal. That gave me hope. I thought, well, this was around about the time you and I started our band, Androta. And we're writing heavy music. And you, the guy who I said, can you play leads? you're playing leads, you know? And I thought in the back of my mind at the age of 23, fuck, maybe there is a chance because MTV2 is showing this stuff. Obviously, that didn't happen. But that's where you get into the main topic of our discussion, which is Greta Van Fleet. Now, my introduction to Greta Van Fleet happened, I guess, involuntarily or secondhand or whatever. I was at work a few years ago, and one of the kids, I'll say, you know, some 20-year-old who's got his first factory job and probably hates his life, had his stereo on and is listening to Rock 108, Cedar Rapids fucking rock station. And something had happened within rock music in that they would play a Korn song and then a Van Halen song. Or they'd play a Godsmack song and immediately a Poison song. It's like you're mixing all these genres. So everybody's hearing something they like, but you're all admitting it's good rock music, even if it's not what you prefer. But there was one song that came on, and the music of it sounded to me like Detroit garage rock. But then I heard the singer, and then I heard the guy say, and that was Greta Van Fleet with Highway Tune. I thought Greta Van Fleet was a chick.
It's Highway Song. I don't mean to correct you.
No, it's Highway Tune. Highway Song is Blackfoot from 1979.
What?
Yes.
God
yes.
Damn it.
Yeah, well, got to win another one. But no, Highway Song is Blackfoot from the album Strikes.
That's it. This podcast's over if I don't get to win.
Oh, fuck, you'll win eventually, but no. So no, Highway Tune.
I have it in my notes as Highway Song.
Well, no, you might have mixed it up with Safari Song.
God damn it.
Yeah. But anyway, though, so yeah, that was Highway Tune by Greta Van Fleet. I thought Greta Van Fleet was a chick. And I'm thinking, okay, Karen O from the Yeah, awesome, some rockin' chick.
Fun fact.
But then fucking...
Fun fact, Greta Van Fleet pulled a Skinnerd and named their band off of... well, I don't believe her name was Greta. It was something close to it.
But they changed it to Greta.
Yeah, Greta Van Fleet.
But
so
yeah, like
pulled
some
a Skinnerd.
lady from their town, and apparently she loved the idea of it.
Or at least let them roll with it.
Did. But yes, so yeah, after hearing this song, and the radio station kept playing it over and over, and I finally deduced that, no, Greta Van Fleet is a band of three brothers and a cousin. And
is it their cousin?
I believe so. It's a family affair.
Oh, okay. So I know they're like the lead singer and the guitar player are twins.
Right.
And then the bass player's like their slightly younger brother.
Yep.
And then okay, so I don't. How many records do they have? Like 2?
I think they have one full length and then a couple of EPs.
I don't know. They have 1 or 2 records.
Right.
But so when they first came out, they had a drummer. Maybe it was their cousin. Well, they don't have that same drummer. They switched drummer.
Yeah.
So,
but
either way, it's either a full-on family affair or it's close enough.
Right. But anyway, though, so once I found out Greta Van Fleet was a band, that's when I heard, once again, fucking Highway Tune for the 20th time. And that's when I picked up, it's like, my first thought was what everyone else's was. Okay, it would have been my second thought. My first thought was Detroit garage rock with a chick singer. The second thought was, whoever is singing this obviously listened to a whole lot of Love over and over again and ripped every vocal style from it. The, ah, mama. It's like, Jesus, where have I heard this? And it was just different words, but it was a whole lot of love. And I immediately wrote them off. But the damn thing is, I just kept hearing about this band. And once again, betraying our age, the kids were all about them. I've got my nieces asking me if I've got any Greta Van Fleet.
So you said you wrote them off really quick.
I did.
I think I wrote them off even quicker than you.
Oh, I'm sure.
Because this was the first time I honestly gave them a listen with an objective mind.
Okay.
And then I want to say, here's a little fun fact.
Yeah.
Robert Plant
likes them.
Yeah, cites them as one of his favorite up-and-coming bands.
Which I find...
And he said, I quote, "They are Led Zeppelin 1, and Josh is a beautiful little singer."
Yep. And that's what I find so funny. Quick detour here, that Robert Plant was all about them, right? You remember how Robert Plant felt about David Coverdale? Hates him. Ooh. David Cover version. Oh, yeah, I know Jimmy Page is they're trying to do a version of Led Zeppelin. It's just not a very good one. He was a fucking asshole about David Coverdale. Hated him. And I'm utterly convinced that he hated David Coverdale because David Coverdale could fucking sing. David Coverdale's fucking talented, whether you like it or not. But
no, I agree with you. I think he's great.
Plant,
I think Robert Plant is great.
Yes, but Plant held a grudge against him for years. And meanwhile, now you got this 20-year-old kid who's... I don't think David Coverdale ever ripped Robert Plant off. But this kid obviously is. And Plant's all about it. I think, well, it's because Plant is 70 years old. It's like, nah, fuck it. What are you going to do to my legacy? I think David Coverdale, I think Plant...
Maybe it's because Coverdale didn't rip him off enough. Maybe it's an ego thing.
I think it was. I think Robert Plant heard some guy that could sing his ass off, and, well, he's got curly hair like me and everything else.
But he's not me.
Exactly.
But this Greta Van Fleet fucking kid is.
Right, but... Yeah, that's the whole thing. Is I've never felt comfortable with the way Robert Plant talked shit about David Coverdale. I don't think it was necessary. Because really, who's going to dethrone Robert Plant? Nobody. So why would you even feel remotely threatened enough to badmouth
and
somebody?
Still, it is nobody. Because we recently saw Robert Plant.
Yeah.
And it was just fucking hands down amazing.
It truly was.
And that's all there is to it. It was amazing.
But back to Greta Van Fleet. So, yeah, so I keep hearing about this band and... You know, like I said, the kids, you know, my nieces and nephews are asking me, hey, you got any Greta Van Fleet and all this? So I thought, you know, I keep hearing about them. And then that was about the time they released the album, what the fuck was it? Anthems of a Peaceful Army or something to that effect. Now, what caused me to start to flip was two different things. One of them was my stepson, who is a massive Zeppelin fan. And he's a massive Zeppelin fan because his father is a massive Zeppelin fan. Now, we're talking about the type of guy who puts the gigantic Icarus logo on the back of his Jeep. Guy who's got the Icarus logo on his chest, I'm told, has Zoso on the fucking knuckles. He's a Zeppelin fan.
That's pretty cool. A Zoso tattoo? That's pretty cool.
Oh, I've got down on my wrist, so, you know.
You know what? My mother's a huge Led Zeppelin fan.
Right.
I'm told, while I was in the womb... My dad used to hook headphones up to his guitar amp and put them on my mom's stomach and play Stairway to Heaven.
That's pretty bitchin'.
Yeah. I mean, I love Led Zeppelin.
Well,
I think it's great. I spent a lot of my early guitar playing years playing some riffs.
Well, and there ain't a vocalist out there who hasn't stolen somewhat from Robert Plant.
I'm not a guy. So my guitar playing style is like, I don't copy people.
No, you don't.
I just kind of like listen to them and enjoy them and kind of I'm influenced by them, but I also improvise a lot, which I think gives me my own voice as a musician. But like I said, I spent a lot of time in the Led Zeppelin realm.
And this is where we're going to get into Greta Van Fleet, really the meat of it. You know, the taking your own voice with it. But yeah, so anyway, back to where I was going with this. So I asked my stepson, I said, I had to ask him, I said, your old man never listened to Greta Van Fleet. He's like, well, I don't know. I said, well, do me a favor. Ask him what he thinks of them. And then let me know next week when you come over what he thinks. And I was shocked by the response. He comes over next week and said, so your old man listened to Greta Van Fleet? He's like, yeah. I said, what do you think? He's like, he fucking loves them. I said, really? Your dad, probably the biggest Zeppelin fan I know, loved Greta Van Fleet. He's like, yeah, he went out and bought their album the next day. I thought, okay, maybe I should give this a chance. But I wasn't quite there. Until one night I was sitting up and, you know, girls had gone to bed and went out, took some notes, got in the right headspace. And I thought, fuck it, I'll go check this out. And I watched them on Saturday Night Live. And the one thing I could think is I'm looking at these kids. They're kids.
They're babies.
Fresh-faced, fucking all of this.
Babies.
And they're performing for Saturday Night Live, which even Sebastian Bach said made him fucking nervous. But they're still doing it. And I thought, there's something to this. But then I went a little deeper and looked up the song Safari Song, and that's when I got it. What I got out of it was they've got their influences. They're wearing them on their sleeves. they're talented, and they're just fucking enjoying this. And all I could think is when I was that age, if I'd have had this opportunity, I probably would have been ripped apart for ripping on my influences. But you know what? They're fucking kids. Give them some time to find their own voice. And I truly think they could. And that's when I'm like, I'm a fan of them.
So I tried to go into this with an open mind.
All right.
I wanted to give it a fair shot.
I'm killing this vodka, by the way.
Oh, that's fine. I have a tall boy somewhere.
Down the hatch.
I'm definitely feeling the booze a little more in this episode than previous ones. So
I know you are because you're talking more shit.
Forgive me for my slurs and my loose tongue. But anyway, Greta Van Fleet, not Von, that's me, motherfucker.
Greta Van July.
Chadwick Van Fleet. Chadwick Von Fleet.
All right. Go on, please.
I'm all fucked up now. So I tried to have an open mind. I really wanted to have an open mind. So I was like, I've heard people talk shit about this band. I've listened to a snippet, and I was like, nope, you're ripping off Led Zeppelin, and I just wrote them off. So when I sat down this week to listen to whatever the record is called, I can't even remember.
Answers to the Peaceful Army.
Is that what it is?
I believe so.
Okay, so here's what I did. I sat down with whatever the record is, and I listened to it, and I found myself, jamming, nodding my head, enjoying it.
Right.
And then I would be like, no, this isn't Robert Plant. Like, it really hit me. Like, these were, like, some Zeppelin jams. And I love Zeppelin. So, I'm taking a shower, listening to the music, and enjoying myself.
There's an image you want.
So then I was like, this can't be this good. So then I was like, how about a live performance?
All right.
That's the great equalizer with a band is how well do you do a live performance? So I watched a YouTube video of like a 40-minute live performance.
Was that from fucking the Austin show, South by
It
Southwest?
was.
Where
he
starts out screaming, "Good Day, Sunshine."
Yes, that's yep, that's the one. So I was like, all right, I'm going to judge this band by this live performance because that's really where you shine.
Oh, yeah.
And then I was like, I'm going to do like a stream of consciousness note-taking.
Okay.
So that's what I did.
But I will say, as far as you bring up the Zeppelin thing, and this is where I started to have problems with them. And it was a song called "You're the One." Now, I watched the Saturday...
Real quick.
Yeah, please.
That's the song I disliked.
Yes, and that's the one I went to as well, because...
That's really weird. We actually agree on a dislike.
And we're probably going to agree on why. Now, I'd say, like I said, I have to keep in mind their youth. They're young. They're going to say, oh, no, we're not ripping off Zeppelin. And then the next interview, the guitar player's going to say, I listened to so much Zeppelin, I felt like I was in Jimmy Page's head.
Yeah, I read that.
They're young. They're fucking just doing what they do. But I watched that Saturday Night Live performance, and the first song was "When the Curtain Falls." And my first thought when I listened to that was, "Out on the fucking tiles." Fine, whatever. You know what? The first song you and I wrote together was a song called "The Lesson in Black," and I thought it was fucking Lowdown. That riff sounded like Black Label Society Lowdown.
It probably did.
I loved it. I will always love it. In fact, we need to bring that back. But, you know what? You have your influences. It happens. You know, if you listen to some of the vocal lines that you can pick out what Anselmo fucking piece I'm ripping off. But regardless, so yeah, When the Curtain Falls, okay, fine, there's some similarities. But when they went to the next, once again, Greta Van Fleet, and they're playing "You're the One," I noticed, okay, the bass player is playing an organ. The guitar player is playing acoustic. And the song starts with the word "your." All I thought was, your time is going to come. You guys got to work a bit harder than that.
Here's my question.
All right.
So maybe I've fabricated this in my own mind.
All right.
I need some facts.
Sure.
But, all right, so these guys are brothers, correct?
Yes.
All right. Isn't their dad like their manager or something?
I don't know, but you had talked to me about that it had to be the manager telling the bass player, all right, hold it a certain way, you know.
Doesn't like I said, I approached this with an open mind, and
Sure.
I got pretty far.
Right.
But at a certain point, I was like, this is fabricated.
Well, and a lot of it...
This is very much a manager or a producer.
Well, it absolutely is. I mean...
pointing them in the right direction.
Well, all you have to do is look at their stage gear. I mean, you watch...
that live video.
Yes.
So, all right.
Let
me break out my notes.
They are wearing caftans and fucking buckskin and everything else.
Okay. This is the very first thing that came to mind, the very first song they played.
All right, what you got?
My mind went, I feel like a hobbit is singing to me.
Didn't they play Highway Tune first?
I don't know what they played first, but I was like, a hobbit is singing to me.
Yeah.
And then my mind said, I'm not a fan and I want to hate them.
Right.
But I'm also trying to give them a chance.
Sure.
So then, I'm listening, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so I've heard people defend them.
Right.
And say, they're picking up the torch, they're going to lead a new generation.
Mm-hmm.
But is it new?
Well, no, it's not. But this is the thing. This is the one point that I had, which we're going to go a lot further, but I'll jump right to my original point. And this is the question I want to ask you, Chad. We talked about Sleep, right? And how they were influenced very much by Sabbath. Why is it okay for Sleep to rip Sabbath, but not Greta Van Fleet to rip Zeppelin?
Because it sounds different.
But does it?
It does.
How?
It just does. Okay.
Yeah. Seriously, how?
No, seriously. So Black Sabbath has a tone, like their guitar tone.
Whereas Matt Pike has his tone.
Has a tone. So, and song structure wise, it's very different. It's similar. It makes you feel at home when you listen to it. You're like, yeah, I'm at home. I'm at home.
Fucking Hallmark card. But yes.
Black Sabbath makes you feel like home.
It does, actually.
Sleep makes you feel like you're at home with Black Sabbath.
Very stoned, but yes.
It's not the same thing. It is the same thing, but it is very much not the same thing because of all the peaks and valley that Sleep took us on.
Right, but see, and that's where...
I didn't feel that with this band.
Okay.
I felt like that guy fed that his AI machine with Led Zeppelin lyrics, and it spit out Greta Van Fleet.
I like where you're going with this, and I could see that.
And okay, look.
Yeah,
these guys are super talented.
Mm-hmm.
They're really good. I think that they're superb musicians. They sound really good and they're really tight.
Sure.
They're brothers, of course. You're gonna have a tightness when you know,
whether you like it or not. Yeah.
Yeah. They got their band is tight and it sounds great. It sounds great. It sounds like Led Zeppelin.
See, and
and it's very convincing.
See, and this is where I started. The more I started diving a little deeper into Greta Van Fleet, obviously, yes, Zeppelin. Just like when you listen to Sleep, Sabbath.
But not to the same extent.
Okay,
so I feel like this is a good example. Sleep copying Black Sabbath and Greta Van Fleet copying Led Zeppelin.
Sure.
Is I felt like Sleep had their own depth.
I felt like Sleep just laid it out there. They named a song Giza Butler. They sing about the ionosphere.
Yeah, you're
whereas
right.
Greta Van Fleet is kind of denying it.
Right. They're like, hell yeah, we're Black Sabbath fans.
Whereas Greta Van Fleet is saying, no.
Of course not. I mean, we only touched the tip of the iceberg.
Now you're making some sense. Now I see where you're at.
Sleep has a depth that is their own.
Sleep, I think, smoked a lot more pot than Greta Van Fleet.
Sure, they probably.
If you want my honest
opinion. They probably have never touched drugs.
No, they haven't. In fact, there was a story about Josh, the singer, because of course his name is fucking Josh. Apparently, he'd reached into his pants pocket and accidentally pulled out a bag of pills, and people were obviously the sensationalist story. He's got a bag of pills. They were vitamins. That's the innocence of these kids. Well, watch Josh on stage. He's smiling like somebody who got a blowjob for the first time. Every time. And that's what I kind of like about him. These guys are enjoying their moment.
So back to my stream of consciousness.
All right, go on.
I was like, I lost my note. Give me a second to find it. I just scrolled real fast on my phone.
Well, that's what you get for using a phone.
No shit.
Use a notebook and a pen.
Oh, fuck you.
Yeah, fuck you.
I can't keep track of my own ass, let alone a notebook. So
I got nothing.
So this went through my mind.
All right.
It's like they went to the crossroads to make a deal with the devil, and he dismissively gave them a box of Zeppelin B-Takes.
Okay.
So then I watched more, and then I was like,
Oh, there's more.
oh, there's more.
All right.
So then I was like, should Zeppelin sue them, or should the people suing Zeppelin for copying them sue them?
No, because the people suing Zeppelin were suing for strictly blues songs. Greta Van Fleet isn't doing that.
You're right, they're not.
No, as far as I'm concerned, as far as people suing Zeppelin, I think the only misstep Zeppelin made was not rightfully crediting people.
They did on some stuff. If you go
afterwards.
back, no, on my vinyls, I'm pretty sure, and I'd have
Yeah,
to.
but what year were those vinyls issued?
The 70s.
Yeah,
I think I have original print vinyls, and I'm pretty sure some of the songs will say like Willie Dixon and stuff like that.
Some of them did, and some of them didn't. I mean, Dazed and Confused was not Jimmy Page's. I can't remember where that came from, but it was originally I'm Confused.
Well, most recently,
Stairway to Heaven.
Was Stairway to Heaven.
California. I tell you what, did you listen to any of that?
no.
Listen to it, because I tell you what, whereas Randy California, I think it was Taurus was the name of the song. Taurus wasn't near as epic or involved as Stairway to Heaven, but the fucking intro was the goddamn same. And they toured with Spirit. There's no fucking way Jimmy Page didn't fucking cop that. But at the same time, how many years later you're trying to ride the coattail of the second best selling song of all time? Yeah, you're a little late to the party, pal. And it's not even you, it's your estate. So, good, I'm glad the judge ruled in Zeppelin's favor, but no, you listen to that fucking intro. That's fucking...
I believe I did, and it is very close.
It's the same thing. It's the same goddamn notes.
Yeah, just like Tribute. Greatest song in the world.
Yeah, but Tribute was a joke. It was meant to be that.
Hey, let me just take a little sidebar here.
Yeah, all right.
So, in one of our previous episodes, we were talking about Tenacious D and Tribute.
Yes.
And how I felt it was Led Zeppelin. It was Stairway to Heaven because the chords are the same.
Yes, that's what you said.
Okay, so I just read an article where Jack Black says it's Metallica's One.
Yes,
No,
it is.
I don't see it. I see more.
I can.
I see more Stairway to Heaven than I do Metallica's One.
I can. Or you're there, Jack Black was taking the piss. But
I don't know. I felt that was worth noting for this episode.
that's good.
So anyway,
Back to Greta.
back to my stream of consciousness.
Yeah, by all means, get to your notes.
So, I'm harshly criticizing them, and I have no room to talk.
Partially, you're criticizing them, and that's fine.
Yeah, but I also praise them. They're very good musicians.
Well,
I think they are not shit.
Well, I'll tell you,
They sound great.
Well, I'll tell you what, this is gonna be the tagline, the slogan, the byline for this podcast. We're talking about them. They're not talking about us.
Fine.
So who wins?
Oh, I don't care.
Nor do I, but that's the whole point of having a podcast.
Come at me, Greta. So
The old lady or the band?
both. Come on.
Give me the old lady. You can have the band.
So
Like
I said, I was trying to be objective, and then I was realizing I was being a little harsh.
No.
So, to be fair, when people first heard Rush's Working Man on the radio,
Thought it was Zeppelin.
they called in and they were like, hey, what's that new Zeppelin song?
But at the same time, because of the high squealy vocals, but no, I give you this. Greta Van Fleet, they are on the template of Zeppelin. And to me, a lot of that lies with, there are so many of those riffs that do, 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 do. I fucking first, Safari song reminded me of a BBC session song called Woman I Love's Got Long Black Wavy Hair. That's the same goddamn riff, you know. Or like I said, When the Curtain Falls, I thought was Out on the Tiles. You're the One, I thought was Your Time Is Gonna Come.
Oh yeah, there's plenty of times they played some riffs, and I was finding myself wanting to recite the Zeppelin lyrics that would go over that riff.
But there's the one moment that kind of really flipped me to where, like I said, I watched them on SNL. I thought, these fucking kids are doing this fucking show and they're doing it. I listened to Safari song and I was sucked in with it because they're fucking having fun. They're rocking out.
It's a good song.
Yep. But
I'm not going to take that away. I'm not going to be overly critical and be like, well, this fucking sucks.
But
it's a good song.
But the one moment that got me was, I think it was the title track of Anthems of the Peaceful Army. It was a real mellow song that had, I think, like a slide guitar part that just went, just this real mellow acoustic shit. And I spent a day trying to figure out where have I heard that? What Zeppelin song, in other words. And I couldn't find it. But then I remembered, wait a minute, that slide moment came from a fucking Styx song off the Equinox album. And I strongly doubt they were listening to Equinox and thinking, what can we rip from this? It was a 70s moment. They were fucking studying the 70s. I don't think they were studying a specific band after a while. I think they were studying old school shit. And that's where I finally said, you know what? Fucking leave them alone. Every band starts out.
Leave them alone.
Leave them
Greta
alone.
Van Fleet alone.
Well, that's what made me do it. It's like, okay, yeah, all right, fine. They blatantly ripped off, and they've even had to be trapped into admitting that they did. But you know what? They have their influences, and they're fucking going with it. And personally, the reason why I say leave them alone is because, okay, people thought Rush's Working Man was a Zeppelin song, but look what the fuck they grew into.
Oh, yeah. Hey,
who's
you know
to
what?
say Greta Van Fleet
Let me take a little pause here since we're talking about Rush.
All right.
So, this is what I like. We go off on tangents, and I'm going to bring up some news.
That's the whole point of this podcast.
Right. So let's let me take a breath.
All right. What do you got, man?
Okay. So, I was perusing music news like I usually do, and I saw that Neil Peart had
Peart. It's Peart.
Peart. Neil Peart.
Peart.
Like the shampoo, right?
Yes.
Did a little short film called Growth Rings.
Heard about this.
So it's like an 8-minute little short, and he talks about wood, and it was partially done with DW drums.
Yeah, okay.
And it's pretty interesting. You get to hear the man speak. Could that guy speak?
Yeah.
He had a great voice for like voiceover stuff, and he's there's a reason they call the man the professor.
Well, yeah.
He's a very smart individual. He's well spoken.
He reads books. Perhaps he can write lyrics.
Perhaps, since he was the primary lyricist of that band. Anyway, it was a nice little thing about the wood that gets turned into your instrument, and his instrument being the drums.
Right.
So then I went into a little bit of a rabbit hole. I guess that DW drums had I watched it. They had a little documentary called Masters of Resonance. Right. So they kind of gave a little history of their company as a drum manufacturer.
Sure.
So anyway, long story short, and how it pertains to Neil Peart, is the company DW Drums source wood from different places.
Right.
So one of the sources of wood they found was a 1,500-year-old bog oak that was in the bottom of a Romanian river.
Yeah.
So they got this, like they dredged this river for whatever reason, I can't remember. Okay. They dredged a river, found a gigantic oak tree. For some reason, DW Drum got first shot at buying the wood. So they bought the wood, and they made a drum set made of 1,500-year-old bog oak. And
for Neil Peart?
No, eventually, but their first kit they made, they were like, hey, like they got a lot of artists, sure. Right?
Wasn't Tommy Lee with them?
Tommy Lee, yeah, was a DW art. Yeah. Yeah, they revolutionized the way that drums are manufactured, sure. The way you use the wood and the wood grain. And it's kind of interesting, but I'm not going to bore everybody with that. So they made this drum kit out of all bog oak. Huh. So they were letting a bunch of different people play it, and Neil Peart happened to be there at one of the times they had the drum set up, and they were like, "Hey, check this out." And I guess he played for like hours, like 3 hours straight. And like the one of the co-owners that was like, hey, check this drum set out.
All right.
He went home, left him jamming on this drum set, and he went home, and then later followed up with him and was like,
sure,
how'd you feel about it? And he was like, this is an amazing drum set. It sounds amazing. It's great.
Right.
Can you make me one? So DW Drums ended up making, and I want to say this was on their anniversary tour.
Okay.
Was this their last tour, this anniversary tour they did?
Fuck if I know, dude.
Anyway, they made this gigantic Neil Peart drum set for him, made of this 1,500-year-old bog oak.
Okay. First of all, just make a mental note of bog oak. If we're ever going to start a southern rock style band, it has to be called Bog Oak.
Bog Oak, Arkansas.
Bog Oak, Iowa.
Bog Oak, Iowa.
Yes. Or Bog Oak, Missouri or something. Either way, Bog Oak. That's just too perfect.
Yeah. So, like I said, I watched that stuff. It was really cool.
Yeah.
Neil Peart is probably the best drummer ever.
Peart, and I don't think it's fair to call anybody the best of anything. I'm with Sebastian Bach on it in that it's not sports. You can't call somebody in music the best. And coming from Sebastian Bach, that's a pretty fucking bold statement. I'm sorry, I can't say Neil Peart was the best. I can't say John Bonham was the best.
That's fine.
That's just my opinion.
That's fine. But you also didn't watch this documentary. So anyway.
No, but I've listened to enough Rush to know how precise Neil Peart is, and he fucking is. Peart, whatever the fuck you want to call him.
Peart. Neil Peart.
Why do I feel like Howard Stern right now? Anyway, he's dead. But fucking, and I will get hate mail for that.
Oh, please send all your hate mail to One Last Podcast. Might as well be One Last Podcast.
It very well could be.
One Last Time Podcast at gmail.com.
All right.
Fucking vodka, man. So
why were we talking about Greta Van Fleet? How the hell did we get
because Rush sounded like Led Zeppelin also.
Yeah, for one song.
Well, still, it
and
still
Neil Peart
made...
wasn't even part of the band at the time.
Working Man?
Yeah, he wasn't. He didn't play on that.
Was that their second album?
No, that was the first.
Was it?
I got a job at the Hard Rock Cafe for answering this question.
Tell that story real quick while I go take a piss.
All right, well, anyway, for all the loyal listeners here, being a high school loser and a junior high fucking awkward outcast afforded me nothing but time to read liner notes, and the best source of them was my Uncle Bob's record collection. And he was a huge Rush fan, so I read all this information on all these bands. Well, anyway, fast forward many years later, I'm living in Maui, and I apply for a job at the Hard Rock Cafe, and I keep getting turned down. I finally go in there for the third time, and the manager comes in, guy by the name of Mark Cooper. If you're listening, give me a call. You were awesome. Sits down and says, well, I don't know that we really have anything for you here, but it says here one of your qualifications is you have an expansive knowledge of classic rock. I said, yeah, of course. He says, all right then, you like Rush? I said, yeah, of course. He said, okay, who was Rush's first drummer? I said, John Rutsey, and his fucking jaw hit the table. He goes, what? How the hell do you know that? I said, dude, I spent the whole of my teenage years reading fucking liner notes. Ask me a different question. He says, okay, name the 5 members of the Eagles. I said, which fucking era? Because there were 4 of them when they started out, and then they got Don Felder, and then they got Joe Walsh. Okay, well, name the members of Pink Floyd. I said, which era? The Syd Barrett era? Okay, you're hired. I said, all right, well, when do I start? Yeah, I'll give you a call on Monday. But by the way, did I show you this Alex Lifeson guitar on the wall? I said, well, hell yeah. That's awesome. That's how I got a job at the Hard Rock Cafe, because I knew who Rush's first drummer was.
That's amazing.
Isn't that great? But
I have a similar story, and it's not even as cool.
Yeah, it's relative.
No, it's way cool. I got hired as a video store clerk because the manager liked my hair.
Why is that not cool? That's awesome.
I don't know. It's just not as cool as knowing the first drummer to the band Rush.
Yeah, Yeah, but still, that's fucking pretty rock and roll.
Well, I mean, I do have nice hair.
You do, and I have hair envy of you, by the way. You have thick fucking hair.
I can't. It just grows,
No,
man.
and that's fucking awesome. And me, I'm washing it every damn day. Knock on wood.
Oh, boy. Okay, so I have a little bit more news before we jump back into the Greta Van Fleet.
Yeah, what do you got, cowboy?
Uh,
Should I tell you what, Chad? You give your news rundown while I go to relieve myself.
Well, all right. I guess I'll just talk to myself for a minute here.
What did I just do?
So, I told the story I've heard a few times. So, Kurt Cobain was in the news. His 1959 Martin acoustic guitar sold for $6 million at auction. And it was purchased by the founder of Rode Microphones. I believe this was a record for how much money an instrument brought at an auction. So maybe a bunch of you don't know what's going on, but Kurt Cobain's daughter was in possession of this acoustic guitar, and somehow or another during her divorce, her husband managed to take possession of it. I don't know if it was a prenup or just... I don't know how the judge landed on that, but he ended up in possession of this guitar, and it ended up on the auction block. So there we go. $6 million later, Kurt Cobain's acoustic guitar was sold.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
So here's something that I think, Josh, you would find interesting.
Wait on me.
So it was the guitar and case. So this guitar, it's iconic.
Right.
It was on the
MTV Unplugged.
MTV Unplugged. Everybody knows what this fucking guitar looks like.
Yes.
So in the case was a half a pack of Martin guitar strings,
All right.
3 picks,
Okay.
and a suede bag with a silver spoon, fork, and knife.
Wait. Silver spoon, fork, and knife. Was there a baggie of brown powder that went with it at all?
Yeah, but it was used, I'm sure.
Yeah, but was the heroin still with the guitar?
No, of course not.
No. Well, what fun is that?
It's just a tidbit.
Well, it's a great tidbit, but if it would have been smack, that would have been great.
Anyway. The Deftones, White Pony, is 20 years old.
I don't give a fuck what I've said about nu metal. That is a goddamn great album.
I've listened to it one time, and I couldn't connect with it.
I'm sorry, I
want
love it.
to say that Maynard from Tool sang on a song.
Right, Passenger.
Yeah,
That wasn't even the best song in the album.
That's all I know.
No,
I
don't know.
I liked Around the Fur,
Around the Fur is a fucking excellent album.
and then I think I stopped there.
Honestly,
Other than the radio hits.
White Pony was probably my younger brother's influence, but it's classic Deftones where Stephen Carpenter is the only guitarist I know who can play 2 fucking chords and make a whole song out of it. And then Chino Moreno is the only guy who I know who can sing so blatantly off key, but make it goddamn work. And on White Pony, I mean, to this day, I still listen to it every now and then. It's a fucking great album.
I'll give it another listen.
Give it another listen. Just listen to the song Street Carp.
Yeah, I'll listen to it with adult ears because
Try it out.
As a teenager, I was an arrogant prick.
Well, as a teenager, you're angry. Or whatever the fuck, you know.
Well,
and that's
that
fine.
sounds like it should have been right up my alley.
No, because that's angry in the Fred Durst angry of fuck Fred Durst,
You know what?
by the way. I will never, ever apologize for that.
That's fine. I agree. However, I had, what was it called? $3 bill, y'all?
Why did you own this?
I don't know. I bought it on a whim before they were, big.
Why?
I thought it looked cool. You
thought that album cover looked cool?
No, I didn't say the album cover. So anyway, Wes Borland used to have really long waist length black hair.
He was the only member of that band I liked because he had long hair until I heard how god awful he played and how god awful that band sounded.
Yeah. Anyway,
I
owned it and I listened to it and it was fine.
No, it wasn't fine.
It was fine. It reminded me of like kind of suicidal tendencies.
No.
Yeah.
It reminds you of suicidal tendencies because Fred Durst ripped off the Pepsi line in that one song.
Oh yeah, that's right.
No, and that was the closest I ever came to liking Limp Bizkit was oddly enough that song. I liked the chorus because it had it had kind of a cool riff to it.
I thought the riffs were cool.
Except you
and
had
when
this
they
fucking douchebag in a fitted baseball cap going, "You want to play that game, bitch?" It's like, okay, obviously you didn't get laid, so they're the bad guy. Fuck you. Fuck Fred Durst.
Yes.
If you're listening, Fred, fuck you. I hate you. I goddamn hate you. Fuck you.
I'm not even going to reel you in on that one. So anyway.
Good, don't, because fuck Fred Durst.
Yeah, fuck Fred Durst. So then when their next record came out, they totally lost me.
Oh, Jesus.
I didn't think they were cool anymore.
I'll never forget. This is how...
Okay. I didn't think they were cool. I don't like the baggy pants and the backwards hat and the stupid bullshit. You look like a fucking ass clown.
Okay, I think I know where you're going with this. You thought, I can tolerate this
Probably.
if I have to.
Like I said, I think it had some riffs because the only redeeming member in that band is Wes Borland, as far as I'm concerned.
And this is the whole thing is I hate him probably more than Durst. You want to know why?
He's too artsy for you?
No, because he used that as a platform. He sold his soul as a platform. You know what? Honestly, okay, let's say I had talent and you threw me in the band fucking Maroon 5. Okay, well, I'm just going to use Maroon 5 so I can go do what I really want. No, I'm still a dickhead who's singing for Maroon 5. I have no integrity at that point. I'm a whore. Fuck me, and fuck Wes Borland for that. But no, it's funny you mentioned $3 Bill, y'all, and fucking the next album. I can remember coming back from a band practice. We had a different bass player at the time. And for some reason, he had the brilliant idea of taking one of the other vocalists from another band. I'm not naming any names in this. Along with us. I thought, okay, fine, cool. You know, band guys riding together, whatever. And I remember we were driving back, and this guy says, "Hey, you mind if I put the CD in?" I thought, fuck it, whatever. Puts in Significant Other. And I could still remember him singing along with Nookie. And that was the moment when it clocked in my head, this fucking sucks. Why the fuck am I listening to this in my car on the way back from my band's practice? Why? Because it's 1999 and I should be more diplomatic? No. I remember telling him, like, get this shit out of my fucking deck. Well, why? It's cool. I'm like, no, it's not. In about 5 years, you're going to find out it ain't cool. Well, what do you want to listen to? Guns N' Roses? I'm like, yeah. And in about 5 years, you're going to fucking love Guns N' Roses again. You're going to hate Limp Bizkit. Mark my fucking words. And sure enough, fuck if it didn't happen.
Yeah, well, when you're right, you're right. So,
in that case, I was right.
Moving right along.
Please, God.
To my next point of news.
All right.
Which I think is great and hilarious.
Oh,
there is a petition to replace the Robert E. Lee statue with one of Guar's Odorous Urungus.
I think statues in general are a bad idea.
I'm
Honestly,
on board with
take
this
them all
one.
down.
Nope, I want this statue with Odorous Urungus and his gigantic cock sitting on top of the horse that Robert E. Lee sat
If we're
on.
gonna put up a statue of anybody, let it be Phil Anselmo.
No, I'm gonna lean with Gore on this one.
I'm going Anselmo.
So,
oh yeah, Anselmo, foot on the monitor, lip jutted out, just. You tell me ancient civilizations aren't gonna walk by this and go, that guy must have been fucking the president.
I'm gonna have to exempt the man because of his white power.
Oh Jesus!
Faux pas. That
he made a mistake, a huge mistake, a big mistake, a ridiculous mistake.
Yep, sorry,
but at least he's apologized.
He has apologized for it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, Anselmo did himself no favors by having a shaved head, but Jesus Christ, I mean, I'm sorry, I'm such. You know what? I figured out a name for us fanboys. We're Philistines.
Philistines.
I'm a Philistine. Cut the guy a break.
And that you are.
Absolutely.
Okay, just a few more news items, and then we'll go back into
a few more.
Go back into me hating Greta Van Fleet. So, first of all, the Dixie Chicks.
God, and Natalie Maines.
So
sorry, babe. Hey, that's marriage material. I don't care. FUTK on national television, you fucking right.
So they changed their name.
Yeah, they're the Chicks now.
I feel like they missed out, and they should have just called themselves the Hick Chicks or something.
I feel like they should have just let it go. Who the fuck is really damning anyone for the term Dixie?
Everybody.
Funny, I didn't hear anything about Dixie until they changed their name.
Dixie Cup is next, motherfucker.
Yeah, you wait. It's going to happen. In fact, I'll tell you what, this is how far gone we are. I saw a picture of Stevie Ray Vaughan's statue in Austin, Texas, right? Somebody wrote FTP, fuck the police, right? And the big question was, who would vandalize a statue of Stevie Ray Vaughan? And my theory is, well, he's a white man who appropriated African-American music, so now we have to hate him. This is how far we've gone with all of this. It's my opinion.
I'm going to stop you there.
Please. Because I'm going to wind up getting more hate.
I'm going to stop you there because the only chords I play are A-C-A-B. All cops are bastards.
Oh, Christ.
So anyway.
I'm going to say I'm missing a pun somewhere, and clearly I missed it.
All right, next bit of news, and then we'll be done.
I'm sorry, I'm just still dwelling on the Dixie Chicks.
Yeah.
Why? Natalie, come on.
Please, Natalie, write us at onemorelasttimepodcast@gmail.com.
Hey, if I have one dream in my life, one fucking dream, it's to do a duet with Natalie Maines. It'd probably be that Rosalind Collins band song, Don't Misunderstand
Once again,
Me.
you Iowans and your country music. So,
Hey, no, she's not country music. She wore an FUTK shirt on TV. That's marriage material.
Sure.
I don't care what the genre.
All right, Josh, we're going to – this isn't even music related. This is just something that caught my eye.
All right. All right.
Okay, let me preface this. No. Josh, do you know what a brony is?
Jabroni?
No, a brony.
No.
Like B-R-O-N-Y. Brony.
Does that have anything to do with Jersey Shore?
It has God, I wish.
Tell me about it.
Okay, so and I'm ashamed that I know this. But I watched a documentary once explaining what a brony is.
Well,
so I'm getting there. In the 1980s, there was a toy line called My Little Pony.
My Little Pony.
Yep.
Oh God, are these people that worship at the foot of?
No, they don't.
Like guys who dress.
It's. I don't know if it's just guys. Let's just say adult fans.
Give me the money shot.
Adult fans of My Little Pony. So in the 80s, it was whatever it was. You know what it looks like. I know what it looks like because we grew up in the 80s and 90s. Right. So anyway, sometime in the 2000s, and I can't tell you exactly when, they did a new series of My Little Pony, and they made them kind of look like Japanese anime little shits.
As you do.
As they do. Fine, whatever. I'm not into it. I don't care. But I saw a documentary where it was showing what they called bronies, which is adult fans of this new show, going to these conventions, and they're all down with it and hip to it. And if there's underlying messages in the episodes, they would tell you all about it. Hell, there's even a DJ that DJs some pony shit. So I know that exists. I put it in the back of my mind, and I carry on with my life. So the headline that I read is Nazi bronies.
Oh, for the love of God.
So there's an internet forum out there. I don't know what it's called. I don't care enough to let anyone else know.
No.
But it featured artwork, My Little Pony inspired artwork, which is also inspired by the recent political discord with Nazism. And this website is denouncing it, which is, of course, what you do when you deal with Nazis.
You think? Oh, unless you're Donald Trump.
Punch Nazis.
Good
right?
people on both sides, folks.
Wrong. Punch Nazis. Anyway.
Yeah.
I just thought that was the most hilarious thing I've ever heard in my life. Could you just imagine what the illustration was? I didn't even look. I didn't even go look. I just let my imagination run away with me.
We're riding away on our white pony because white is pure.
Hey, a white pony. Wait a minute. Anyway.
Oh, God.
Hey. And that's the news. Back to Greta Van Fleet.
Jesus Christ. I don't want to live on this fucking planet anymore. Chad, I really don't. Well, let's go to the iomosphere.
That's probably a good move.
I'll pick the fruit of the rift tree. I don't care. Just anything to fucking escape this. Where in the hell were we at with Greta Van Fleet anyway? Did
I
we
was
even make a point?
I was at a stream of consciousness watching their live Austin City Limits performance.
Good day, sunshine.
What the fuck does that even mean?
It was a Beach Boys song or a Beatles song.
Is that the equivalent of? Do you remember Laughter?
Yes, I think that's kind of what he was going for. But
once again, brings me to my point where they're just Led Zeppelin and a different rapper.
Well, yes and no. I mean,
look, did you read the Pitchfork review?
Probably not.
Oh my God! Do yourself a favor.
Well, give me the synopsis.
Look, whoever wrote the article was pissed off.
Sure.
And they made a bunch of really good points.
All right.
So all I did, I grabbed one quote from that article.
Okay.
And I think it summed it up. And quote, "It's a costume. Greta Van Fleet is all costume."
I will respectively disagree with that.
I think it is.
I don't think it's a costume any more than you growing a fucking beard down to your fucking waist is a costume, or me wearing bell bottoms is a costume. I think they're doing what they want. I think they're fucking 22 years old.
I think their daddy told them what to do.
I think their daddy influenced them.
Also, to be fair, I think in a few years, if they're still at it, they're probably going to find their own voice, and it's probably going to be good.
And that's what that's what I'm pleading for, is give them some time.
So,
I mean, honestly, Chad, if I had been signed at 22, you know what a disaster I would have been?
Well, that's the thing. These guys aren't a disaster. They're like clean-cut little boys.
Yeah, so we think. So was Def Leppard. We all know what was going on backstage.
Oh, man, Wasted was probably the best record
Wasted was the best Def Leppard
ever.
Song, period. I remember hearing that coming out of the basement. My dad's band covered that song. But yeah, fucking that's the whole goddamn thing is, honestly, if you'd have been fucking discovered at 22, if I'd have been discovered at 22, we'd have been torn apart for some reason. You know, I'm a champion for these kids. Give them some fucking time.
Sure.
And I really think
I'm all for that. But in the meantime, let me tell you my stream of consciousness.
Oh, go on, please.
I hate their look. The 70s have died and moved on.
Hey.
Look, a tambourine.
Okay, tambourines, I'm going to give you that. I have no place for that.
And then I said, he's playing behind his head. Nice. Because, hey, that's cool. I like that.
Hey, Paige never even did that.
The play the guitar behind your head thing is cool.
Paige didn't do that, though.
That's true. That's more of a Jimmy thing.
Yeah.
And then I had to comment, "Oh, mama."
Yeah, the mama thing.
Oh, baby.
Okay, the mama thing, I will give you that, has bothered me from the beginning, from Highway Tune to fucking Safari Song, which is a song I like. You are a child. What the fuck do you know about mama besides your mom? Quit saying, "Hey, mama, can I..." You don't know anything about a mama, all right? Unless you are, in fact, banging the Greta Van Fleet, you don't know anything about mama. Shut up.
Exactly. And
Stop smiling.
Quit smiling. God damn it. And then I said, there's keyboards now.
Oh, huh?
Yeah, there's some kind of organ keyboard thing.
Oh.
The bass play.
The song You're the One.
Yeah, he totally just John Paul Jones.
Oh, dude. Yeah, that was fun.
And he was barefoot. Were they all barefoot? Fucking hobbits, man. So anyway, right. I was like, I'm not hearing the Bonham triplet.
No, in fact, I don't think that drummer really ripped Bonham.
No. And
Which
I
is
think
good.
Maybe if he did, it would have been all over.
Well, because the only drummer I've ever heard that could rip Bonham was his son, Jason.
Yeah.
If you ever listened to, like, Bonham, his band,
right?
He's doing his dad's behind the beat thing.
Yeah, that Bonham triplet.
That you essentially have to be born with. You can try to do it. You ain't going to do it. It's got to be in the DNA. Les, do you remember the band Kingdom Come?
No.
Okay. Now I'm going to make...
Wait a minute. Is this a local band?
No, it's a band from Sweden that was around in the 80s. No. Now I'm going to make the case for why we should lay off Greta Van Fleet. Go down the rabbit hole and look up Kingdom Come. In fact, just look up the song Get It On. It's such a fucking Zeppelin riff, an unapologetic one. Vocally, the drums, the riff, all of it was just Zeppelin. The only thing they didn't have was the look of Zeppelin. Their singer had like deep red hair that looked kind of like mine. Fucking didn't look anything like Robert Plant. They didn't look like Zeppelin, but Jesus, did they sound like him. Get it on! Yeah. Just look up that song and you're going to go, God, maybe we were too hard on Greta Van Fleet.
Perhaps.
Straight up, man. Kingdom Come was the worst of it.
Okay, so it just keeps going. My stream of consciousness
there's
keeps
more.
going.
Please.
What did I say? So like, it has nothing to do with the way the band sounds. I was just like, were these guys homeschooled?
And they probably were.
They probably were because they're like wholesome.
They are.
They're wholesome. How can you be an exact Led Zeppelin copy and be wholesome?
Well, that's my kind of soft spot for them, you know? And that's where it's like I can't hate out on them because, like I said, Josh the singer is just smiling. He's humble about what he's got. He's not. Well, you know, we talked about Slipknot in the last episode, how they got big and they deserved it and they knew they deserved it. Whereas Josh is going, holy shit, this is happening. And oh my God, this is incredible. They're humble. And I love that about them. That's where I could say kids, you know, fucking throw me into that position when I'm 19. I know what I would have been like, a complete and total dickhead. They're not like that. And I like that. But they're still playing rock and roll. And that's a hard balance to have. To be a nice guy, you're in the band Hanson singing Bob, you know?
Have we found the rock and roll Hanson?
Kind of, yeah, but I like their rock and roll. Somehow they managed to figure it out. I just hope for their sake. I hope, number one, I bet you anything that guitar player is pulling more fucking ass than a toilet seat. He just looks like the guy that's getting the ass. And I think Josh, if I have any hope for him, he'll develop a debilitating drug problem, then go to rehab and come out of it. Experience life, kids. Fucking enjoy it. That's all I think.
So at this point, I went, honestly, I'll just turn this off and go listen to Houses of the Holy.
Oh, come on, man.
Look, like I said, at the beginning, I was like, I'm going to give these boys a chance.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, hey, okay. And then I just went down the spiral, and I just became cynical. And honestly, Houses of the Holy.
But to me, that would be no different than me listening to Holy Mountain saying, fuck it, I'll put on Master of Reality.
But it's not the same. Because,
no, and neither is
because
Greta Van Fleet.
It's enjoyable. Anything that was not Led Zeppelin influenced, and you can tell, I became easily bored with.
Right. Really?
And, yep. I was like, yep, that's just your generic cut and paste rock and roll.
Okay, so yeah, whereas Highway Tune, I can see
So the only, like, the real positive thing I can say about that is their tone musically is really good.
Sure.
And I wasn't bored by that.
Right.
But I was bored by the cookie cutter thing.
Yes, but also keep in mind how young they are and they're just learning. Look at Led Zeppelin, their first album.
Yeah, I know.
You know?
That's what I don't want to be a prick about this.
I know you don't.
But I was.
Well, sure.
So anyway, you know, a wise man once said to me,
"Oh God, smoke fucking acid."
No, about this type of music,
Yeah,
about
right.
this type of rock revival.
All right.
And this is a direct quote.
I can't wait for this to be attributed to me.
That's not you. Yeah, yeah, that's a band where you hear something and you think, cool, but the nostalgia quickly fades after a song or another listen later. And that's exactly what happened to me.
Okay. I absolutely
Thank you, P-Shack, for that.
You know what? Doug, well done.
Doug?
Was that his name? Doug Pishak?
No.
What the fuck is his name?
Eric.
Eric? Eric? I thought it was Doug.
Pishak, when you listen to this, text me and let me know if that's your cousin's name. Anyway.
Inside jokes. Don't mind them. Anybody else listening? No, really, that's pretty good. Actually, once the nostalgia wears off, I'll give you that 100%. I think for me, that didn't happen with Greta Van Fleet. I think I just heard good fucking rock and roll.
So then I got bored while watching their live video on YouTube, so I decided to read the comments.
No, well, the comments are always the best part.
Oh, they are. Everybody's a massive asshole.
Yes, all is Zeppelin, fuck you, fuck you. I love
the stuff that stuck out in my mind is not the oh, you sound like Led Zeppelin. Obviously, they sound like Led Zeppelin.
Sure.
Fine. Anyway, I'm going to use a term that I don't necessarily like, but I'm going to use the term boomers. So anyway, in the comments, there's a lot of self-professed boomers because they give their age.
Sure.
That weren't complaining about the band, but were complaining about the comments about complaining about the band.
Yes, that seemed to be the theme.
So there was a lot of boomers telling people to quit complaining. You have it too good. The only ones to complain are brain dead. Look, boomers.
Can't ever caught that. But.
Look, I get it. I bet you feel cheated out of Led Zeppelin because the band only lasted 11 years.
Right.
So here comes in this era, a new band that sounds just like a band that you loved when you were a kid.
Sure.
I get it. They sound like Led Zeppelin. Really close to Led Zeppelin.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I hate about it.
All right. Well, I guess
like I said, in a few years, maybe they'll work their shit out and they'll start to sound three-dimensional.
And I think they will, because of going back to that song we were talking about, that real mellow one that had that guitar part that I swore came from a Styx album that did not come from anything Zeppelin ever did, that I'm convinced they didn't get from Styx. There's no way they were listening to Equinox in the fucking basement. No, I think that was the moment that told me they are finding their own voice. If you give them an album or two, they're gonna find their own voice. And you know what? It may not fucking translate to massive sales or whatever. I honestly think Greta Van Fleet got so fucking big because the kids, as in my nieces and nephews, because I'm goddamn old, fucking found rock and roll. And we ain't had rock and roll, Chad, for a long fucking time. And you know what? You got to fucking salute them for that.
It's been a long time since we've rocked and rolled.
And it's the fucking truth. I mean, and that's why I started this whole thing off with the Headbangers Ball thing about how you had bands like Lamb of God playing right next to The Darkness, or fucking E-Town Concrete playing next to fucking Mastodon, or goddamn Shadows Fall playing next to Fireball Ministry. You know, 3 out of 6 of those bands were old school sounding. And you know what? When I was fucking in my early 20s, I went right to the old school sounding shit because it just wasn't around at the time. So how the hell do I fault the teenagers for going to this band that sounds old school by saying, no, that's Led Zeppelin, you shouldn't listen to that. No, fuck that. Let them have their band. And salute that band for fucking doing it.
What? I might be a little bitter because in my teenage years, I was all about these bands.
So was I. You think I'm not pissed off?
So here's my point.
All right.
I loved these bands and I took them serious.
Yeah.
And then sometime in the middle of high school, it became trendy to like these bands. So I've always had this disdain about it.
Oh, dude, I hear you. I understand that, and I held that bitterness for a long time. I mean, one of my favorite stories that I love to tell people about, I guess if I'm going to give myself a mythology or whatever by saying I've always been who I am, was there was one night after a local band played, and we went to a house party afterwards. And I'm outside with a drummer for another band in the area, and we're out there smoking a joint. Now, the drummer was part of a punk band, and I was part of, what became our band, Sublimate, but it was a metal band, or an old school rock band, really. And we're both out there smoking a joint. The one thing we had in common was pot, but I'm wearing a Motley Crue Theater of Pain shirt.
Unironically, of course, right?
No, not ironically at all. I just got it from the concert I saw them at. and on the Generation Swine tour, which we'll leave that alone. But anyway, I'm wearing this shirt, and I'm not doing it to be ironic. I'm wearing it because it's a Motley Crue shirt. And the guy goes to me, takes a hit off the joint, passes the joint. I take a hit. He goes, "Hey, I got to ask you something." And it's just us two out there. I said, "Yeah, what's going on?" He's like, "Are you wearing that shirt as a joke, or do you really like that band?" I take a hit off the joint. I said, "Dude, I love Motley Crue." And he kind of looks around. And keep in mind, this guy's a couple years older than me, about twice my size, because he's not worried about intimidation. He kind of looks around. "Dude, me too. Me and my sister used to watch Headbangers Ball all the time." And I took another hit off the joint. I looked at him and said, "Why don't you just admit it then?" And he did not have an answer for me. And at the time, I felt just alone. But as years have gone by, I am emboldened by that story, by thinking, you know what? While everyone else was hopping trends and denying what they were into, I fucking held my ground. And guess what? Now everyone's all about Motley Crue. Yeah, shout out the devil. That's great. Yeah, where the fuck were you in 97 when I was getting shit on for loving that? You know where you were? Fucking hiding. So, you know what? I'm not even bitter about it, though. I'm happy about it because, you know what? Time tells the tale. And I'm still the same fucker I've always been. And a lot of other people, well, they aren't. I mean, I talk to people that used to fucking have Winger CDs burned that they would label Slayer so that their friends wouldn't find out they listened to Winger.
Hey, nobody likes Winger.
I don't even like Winger, but you know what? Fucking own what you own. I have a Go-Go's CD in my collection that I don't hide. And a Go-Go's album, for that matter. Fucking, I listen to what I like. I always have. And, man, I got shit on for that for years. But you know what? Eventually it flipped, and it's like all of a sudden this guy that liked Guns N' Roses, everyone's on board with. Well, you know what? My satisfaction isn't in anything other than I didn't change and you did. What does that say about you? So that's why I like Greta Van Fleet, and that's why I like the people that are following them. And you know what? They can't do anything about the fact that people hated us in high school any more than we can. I can just take satisfaction in knowing that, you know what? I was who I was. I am who I am. And that's how I sleep well at night.
What tracks did you like or dislike?
What, from Greta Van Fleet?
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. I hated Highway Tune. I still hate it. Not because of anything with them. It was just, it was a young band, but I just thought it was paint by numbers Detroit garage rock coupled with somebody that had obviously listened to a whole lot of Love and thought, what can I do with this? I didn't think it was really original, but the track I loved, I still love Safari Song. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, so I'm with you on the You're the One. I thought that was...
Time's Gonna Come.
That was lame.
Weak sauce.
Yeah. But the one I liked was Edge of Darkness.
Okay. Well, what do you like about it?
I don't know. I thought my ears perked up when I heard the guitar come in.
And that's how I felt about Safari Song, which let's go once again with the whole Zeppelin playbook. The way I said that Sleep had ripped from Master of Reality, obviously Greta Van Fleet with their song titles. Highway Tune, Safari Song. Where have I heard this? The Wonton Song, the Immigrant Song, the Rain Song. All right, I know what you're doing. But you know what? They're learning.
Well, you know what? No, nobody can sum it up more than Robert Plant himself by saying they are Led Zeppelin 1.
Yep.
That's exactly what they are.
I think they're Led Zeppelin 3.
So hopefully they kind of develop their own voice.
I really think they will. And
there's they have a lot of potential.
Well, and that's where I said that mellow track of theirs that had that slide guitar line that didn't come from Zeppelin, that came from, in my opinion, Styx, but obviously it was the 70s. That's them finding it. And watching Safari Song live, watching the video of that, it was such a fucking, it's like if you would have fucking switched the year to 1973, you'd have been watching these confident, like, you ever seen old footage of Paul Rodgers when he was in Free?
No.
He was fucking 19 years old. 19. With the beard or not, but he was just confident. And if you listen to him, you wouldn't care about his age. He just had that confidence, that swagger. The guy could sing the fucking phone book and it would sound soulful. In fact, I'm convinced Stevie Ray Vaughan wrote the song Texas Flood about the time Bad Company played there in fucking 1977 and all the women got wet. Fucking, that's kind of how I felt watching that video of Safari song. It's just like, okay, so Josh, the singer, is just grinning like he's getting head for the first time, but that guitar player, that's the one I watched. He's just kind of got the chin out a little bit, and he ain't smiling. He's just confident. I went, there is something there. These guys are going to fucking do, if you give them a fucking second to do it, they're going to do something.
You're right. But I hope they get a producer or somebody that says, look, you got a good foundation. Why don't you do your own thing now?
Yep. And that's where, and that's what the vast majority of people, you talk about YouTube comments or whatever, that's what the vast majority of people are saying is, you know what? Yeah, fine. So Zeppelin this, Zeppelin that. If they could get somebody to steer them in the right direction, they could do great things.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I believe that.
I'm sure they'll be a really nice, solid rock band because they don't sound annoying.
No.
Dude, so their production values are really good. It sounds really good. There are a lot of bands that come out that are like, oh, it's the new wave of rock bands that come out sounding production value-wise, not necessarily the same as, but for Buck Cherry. Do you understand what I mean when I say that the sound of the overall recording
Buck Cherry
is just not good.
Buck Cherry, I'll never not like the song Lit Up, even though it's such an easy device song. But there is a band that, this is where I start to hate lyricists so much. Crazy Bitch, remember that?
I don't want to remember that.
Neither do I. But I could just examine those lyrics over and over and just hate everything behind it. You're a crazy bitch, but you fuck so good I'm on top of it. You're crazy, but I like the way you fuck me. If any guy walked up to a chick and said that in a bar, they'd be punched. Really? This is your fucking stairway to heaven? This is your crowning achievement? Is that? So, no, I don't think Greta Van Fleet is even near as bad as that could possibly be.
No, they're not. But what I'm saying is their production value is really good.
Sure.
Compared to
Buck
Cherry and then the bands that sound like that. It has like a overproduced cookie cutter sound.
I see. Whereas Greta Van Fleet, somehow the right balance was there.
Yeah, I think like they don't sound like a Led Zeppelin record,
right? But
they sound good.
And this is
where the instruments sit in the mix.
And this is the Achilles heel that I think they have.
Oh, Achilles heel.
Huh?
Achilles' Last Stand. Isn't that a Zeppelin song?
Yes, Achilles. Hey. And help me out. Is it pronounced Achilles or Achilles?
You know what? I don't fuck.
It's fucking Achilles, all right?
We're Americans. Forgive our accent.
I have had this debate with my stepson for a fucking year. It's not Achilles, it's Achilles. No, it's Achilles. You have an Achilles heel, not an Achilles heel.
I have an Achilles heel.
Right. But anyway, I think the one thing Greta Van Fleet could do that would really help them a lot, and I also think there's one thing that could hinder them, their Achilles heel, is Josh has got to get away from that fucking high register. And the reason I say that is because of the Darkness. Darkness, a band with great music, but that fucking singer, you were only going to listen to him for so goddamn long. And that's the one complaint I hear about Greta Van Fleet is Josh's voice. Which, it's a quality voice, and I think if he, emulates his hero Robert Plant and starts doing more with him, they could be unstoppable. But if he keeps up that, it's not going to go any further than that.
Yeah.
And that's what I'd like to see. Go into your lower register, dude. Explore. And that band, I really believe, could be unstoppable. Or at least I hope. I hope that for them. I want them to do what I wanted to do at their age. Fucking conquer the world.
Yeah, they need a better producer or manager or something.
Right.
Because right now they're kind of like the fucking Monkees.
I don't know about the Monkees. I see where you're at. No, there is a novelty to them. How many times have I said kids in this podcast?
Right.
There's a novelty to that. There's also the whole retro novelty. There's the Zeppelin novelty. The bottom line is they've got the talent. They've got the right idea. But you're right. They need that slight hit of direction.
Greta Van Fleet, if you need a push in the right direction, hit us up at one more last time podcast at gmail.com. I can't even get my own shit together. Don't ask us for anything.
Well,
so did you listen to anything interesting this week, or anything you liked?
The only thing I can say that I listened to that
or
was
watched
new to me. Watch shit. We're still on Trailer Park Boys. I don't watch TV beyond that. But no, I've gotten into the whole pandemic habit of ordering vinyl online or searching for elusive vinyl. And this is about as lame as I get. I've been on a search for a vinyl copy of Styx's self-titled album and finally got a hold of it. And you're looking at me like exactly how I think you would. But I don't give a shit. I love fucking 70s music, and I've been spinning the hell out of that this week. And the only thing I can say about it that might perk your ears is there's a song called What Has Come Between Us that my daughter thinks sounds like it's from Red Dwarf.
Oh, that's cool.
Of course. And it kind of does. But I love the first song on that album, which is Movement for the Common Man. It's a multi-part suite, if you will, that for that being their first album really sounds mature and realized. And anybody listening to this is going to be tuning this out because who gives a fuck about Styx, let alone Styx from 1972. But that, I guess, is the new stuff I've been listening to.
The new old stuff. So,
yes.
Okay, so I listened to the new Lamb of God.
All right.
They have a new one out, self-titled, Lamb of God, Lamb of God.
I suppose it was about to come to that.
And it's good. Sounds like Lamb of God. It kicks ass. It's politically charged. It's cool.
All right.
They got a lot of good songs on there. Okay. So after I got done listening to it, I was like, that didn't quite scratch the itch. So then I listened to Burn the Priest.
Oh, yes.
But I listened to their covers record. They have a record of covers they did. They did Jesus Built My Hot Rod.
All right.
And they did Kerosene by Big Black.
Okay, so they picked a bunch of obscure shit.
Oh, it's really good. If you ever get a chance, definitely check it out. It's good.
No, I think I'll go back to the other score that I got was finally a vinyl copy of Nevermind the Bollocks, Here's the Sex Pistols. And I'll never get tired of that, although I don't think my neighbors appreciate the socio-political commentary of a song like Bodies, which you can't really tell if it's for or against abortion, but the line, fuck this and fuck that, fuck it all, and fuck the fucking brat, I don't know is really going to translate to my 80-year-old neighbors. But I will say this, though.
Fuck them.
Do what?
I said fuck them.
Fuck them. But no, I will say this, though. The one thing that I knew the Sex Pistols must have been onto something great was, my stepson, Marky, who, high on the autism spectrum, is really geared towards music. And I'm always playing him whatever I can get a hold of to see if he'll get into it or not. But I played him that album, and the first song is Bodies. And it starts off with that Nazi foot stomp, jump, jump. And as soon as that first power chord hit, kid fucking looks up and he goes, whoa! I went, we're on to something. That to me is that's a victory. So Steve Jones, if for some reason you're listening, fucking you're awesome.
Final thoughts.
On Greta Van Fleet?
On Greta Van Fleet.
Leave the fucking kids alone. Let them grow. I'm all for them 110%. Greta Van Fleet all the way.
Yeah, well, I don't care too much what they're doing now. It's listenable.
Right.
I found myself like getting into it, and I'm like, man, this is Zeppelin. No, it's not Zeppelin. Never mind. It really feels like a long lost Zeppelin record in some ways. Much
like Sleep was the long lost.
I don't feel the same way when I listen to Sleep.
I don't think that's fair.
I know you don't think it's fair, but I don't get the same feeling from it.
Okay, fair enough. I can't tell you what to feel.
I can see their influence, but I don't think they blatantly copied it.
Right.
Hey, they have potential. I feel like they have potential, and maybe their next couple of records will be more them and less Zeppelin.
So can we agree that while right now derivative, there is potential?
Of course.
So can we leave the kids alone?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right.
We'll leave the kids alone.
Greta Van Fleet for the win, then. All right. On that happy note, we're going to leave this one off. Cook up ideas for the next round, but till then, this is Joshua for the Hardaway Lee Johnson.
Chadwick Von Tippitt.
For one more.
Last time.
Asta.